Hello everyone, you're listening to Northern Flights, a Park Pro podcast keeping you up to date with the people, tournaments, and culture of disc golf in Canada and beyond. Consider becoming a Patreon today at patreon.com/parkpro. Find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by DiscGolfPark. And now your hosts, Andre, Jesse, and Matt.
Hello. What's up, guys?
Not much. Yourself?
Oh, not too much. I'm a little frantic today because we got the Rusty Ratings coming up this weekend at Raven's Nest, and we had to reset a basket. So that's what I was doing about up until about 10 minutes before we hit record. So it was kind of like run from there, run to here, make sure everything's set up, and then get everything going. So, yeah.
Yeah, good thing you did that pre-tournament check, because having a basket lean in at a 45 wouldn't keep anybody too impressed.
Yeah, exactly. Great episode for everyone today. We have a lot to get through. We have Music City preview. Rusty Ratings, we're going to talk about that a little bit. And obviously more, maybe some discussion points and stuff. We also have a special guest coming on. But
Scott Stokely's back? He has a follow-up surgery?
More special than that. And why don't we just start off with finding out how we're all doing? So why don't we start off with Max?
Hey.
He's back!
Guess who's back?
No.
Back again.
Oh, God.
I'm good.
No, always the air horn.
One of all stops.
How you doing?
Good to be back on the podcast.
Yeah. We figured this was a good time to do a little bit of a check-in. You know, it's been we're a few events deep into the Pro Tour, and what better time than to get you on after a big old win in a B tier down south?
Yeah. Texas Swing.
Gang sign.
W.
Weezer?
It's a W. I mean, it's a Weezer sign, but it's a W.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, Texas Swing done. Had an off week before Music City, and was giving Jakob and Yalta a ride to Music City, Nashville. And they just kind of caught wind of this little B tier on the way. And I do remember driving through Little Rock last year. It's like an hour and a half from Jonesboro. But yeah, on the way from Texas to Nashville. And I mean, we didn't stop to play any courses last year, but apparently they got a pretty heavy disc golf scene, a lot of old courses. But unfortunately had a pretty bad tornado come through the city. What was it? Friday night or Friday afternoon. And this was a 2-day event. We were supposed to play 3 courses. And yeah, we were just out and about. We were at like a Dick's Sporting Goods, and we knew there were like tornado warnings, but I mean, there was probably 3 events last year that we had tornado warnings and nothing really came of it. Like just a little bit of hail. But yeah, we just in the store, and all of a sudden on the TV, like they were just showing coverage of this tornado, like tearing up buildings and stuff. And we were just like, is that here? And then they had like a car with a camera following the tornado, and we saw the stores that were like across the parking lot from us in the feed. And we were like, okay, that's literally like 200 meters from us. And it's like a legit tornado, like destructive. And we were just like, okay, this is real. So we had to be like escorted to this little like safe room. I guess it was like a reinforced area of the building that was made for tornadoes, or I don't know if it's like nuclear warfare as well, but
yeah, probably a catch-all.
Yeah, we were stuck in there for like an hour and just waiting it out. And luckily, the house, because we were staying with this guy, a local that gave let us park the RV at the house, plug in. The guys were actually living sleeping in the house. He gave us this old beater truck to use for the week, and so we were living the real Arkansas life. But I mean, no, it was nice. It was good. But yeah, luckily the house was on the right side of the city that didn't get torn up. RV was fine, but they lost like 4 courses, like properly flattened.
Crazy.
And we played a doubles, like a little bit of sandbagging, because it was like bring your own partner doubles. So Yalta and Jakob played together, and obviously just ran the table and won it all. And then I played with the host guy, and I think we got like we might have came. I was third, I think. Yeah, but it was like I think we were only like 3 strokes behind Yalta and Jakob. Like I expected them to like go 17 or 18 down. Like it was a pretty short, a moderately wooded course, so maybe a little bit of local, edge to the locals, but yeah, it was closer than I expected. But yeah, that course gone, and I think that course was like the oldest one in Little Rock. So there was definitely a lot of people who were hurting after that week.
Crazy.
And yeah, so we only played one of the courses we were supposed to play. But I think the other 2 were fine, but it, for whatever reason, like the river that that ran by the course was like super high, and there was like one bridge to come into the property, and they were worried about it like flooding. So I'm not sure if it was just like playing on the safe side, because I'm sure we could have played the other 2 courses. But maybe they just wanted to kind of expect the worst and make the best of it. But yeah, a little B tier, a bit of like birdie or die course for sure. Like I shot 9 down the first round, and I was like left probably 5 or 6 strokes out there, like easy strokes. So I was expecting like winner to go down like 30 plus over 2 rounds. So, but yeah, shot hot the second round, 14 down. I think I came back. I think I was only 2 strokes back by then. And he shot an 11 the first round and 12 the second round. So we went to a playoff, and they picked some weird holes. Super wooded par 4, like downhill drive that was just kind of random. I threw first on the playoff, hit like first available tree, 90 degrees left in the thickest of woods you could imagine. And he safe down the middle, but has this like smaller gap, because you could like cut the corner a little bit, which was what I was trying to do, or you could just play it straight down and then kind of making the second shot a lot longer, but safe to not go in the woods. But so he kind of got caught up on his second shot, and I just like hacked it through the bushes thinking I was out of it. We end up both parring the first one, and then it was just birdie and then taking the win on it was just the third hole. So birdied the next hole, and then he had a putt for birdie that he missed, and then I sealed the deal.
Nice.
Hell yeah. 1039 rated final round for the victory.
And you get a hat.
The Little Rock Games hat.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. I was going to comment on it because I honestly thought it was a Pokeball at first.
It's also like hideously crazy yellow. So like if I was wearing it backwards, it's like crazy.
Very yellow.
Felt like it was justified.
Their take on gold. That's your winner's gold on the back of your head.
Exactly. But
I'd love to be sorry, Max, you go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was a well-run tournament. I think a lot of like pro tour guys that are like, I think the general like pro tour director, not Jeff Spring, but like the next guy in line, he's from Little Rock and works remotely like 90% of the season. So he was the TD for the tournament. So it was pretty, I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
one, meet him first face to face for once, because I've probably sent him like 40 emails. But yeah, and it was really well run. Courses, I mean, we're definitely geared more towards an amateur level player. Like both par fives were essentially par fours, and all the par fours were kind of just play. Yeah, like you could play like almost mid. Like you could just crush a drive and have like a short chip upshot, or yeah, play a little more conservatively and not have any issue with the second shot. But I mean, fun courses, but yeah, definitely a little more birdie or die style. So
It looked like nice properties. Oh, sorry.
It looked very
No.
cool.
Matt was going to go and you cut him off, so I won't recut Matt off. Go.
They look like nice properties, is what I was going to say. No, they absolutely did look like nice properties. I was going to say, how funny would it be if you're just like at your local B tier in, Cranbrook or whatever, and then like, oh, I wonder who's showing up for doubles, and it's the best player from the Czech Republic and the best young player from Denmark, and they're gonna run our table here. It'd be frustrating, but also super cool.
it did feel wrong, and it was almost like the disc golf gods cursed us by taking away the course with a tornado. It might have been our fault.
And it did look super cool. And for those of you who are YouTube people, especially, you should check out Max's channel. You should check out Yakub's channel. You should check out Yalta's channel, because the boys are doing some vloggy practice rounds, and they're super fun. So you can find all of those just by looking up those names, right, Max?
Yeah, no, I think they're pretty easily found. And yeah, I think Jakub and Yalta, I don't know if they've like went into the season wanting to do this for every tournament. We unfortunately did not film one for Music City. I'm not sure if they did separately, but so they are staying on their own this time rather than relying on me for rides. But so yeah, they're a bit on their own this week. I'm staying at a campground this week, so a little ways from the course, but hooked up, got power. But yeah, I'm not sure if they did one challenge for this week, but
okay, well, only check out Max's YouTube channel. It's found easily. Max Forget Nig on YouTube.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. I mean, pretty easy to do. Not that we're like putting a lot of effort or that into it, just kind of picking a few holes on the course that we think are fun or notable, and playing best score, and yeah, having a lunch or a dinner on the line, and quick editing. I'm not sure. Jakob's been doing all the editing, so I can't speak to how long he's been actually spending on it, but it turned out pretty well.
Yeah, they're great.
For sure. And actually, I'll give you the Canadian listeners a pro tip. JAKUB.
Jacob.
And then just type disc golf in YouTube. Comes up. Don't mess with the last name. And I can't even remember how to spell Yalta, but if you type that in and then just write disc golf, it comes up. You don't have to mess with too many last names or weird spellings if you do want to check it out.
Ja, men det försöket nämnt undskyld. Forgot you guys don't speak Danish. Very, very standard Danish name, Jesse. Come on.
But
Sounded like you were chewing acorns, bud.
I think we linked their videos in description, so I think it's pretty easily found inter-channeled. So
I think
Nice.
you did not, because that was the first move I tried.
No, you got to check the description of the video, Jesse. Is this your first rodeo with YouTube?
That's what I
Links,
just said.
links are in the comments, bro.
You guys
Maybe
talk
not the
about something
comments.
else. I'm looking this up.
All right.
Well, Max, how overall, how do you think your Texas swing has gone. You started at Waco, and going from there.
Yeah, I mean, Austin and Texas State's definitely felt better. Texas State's had a weird first round, just couldn't get anything going. But other two rounds were decent. Austin, I found like it's been just a couple holes every tournament that I've either had the wrong game plan going into it, like maybe just playing too aggressive. But yeah, just a couple holes on each course that's just kind of bitten me on the scorecard every round and just leaving strokes on the field. Waco was a while ago. I can't even remember. I don't think I even shot one good round.
But you did get an ace.
I did get an ace, so that's nice.
Yeah, and maybe mention the foundation thing for the ace, because that's pretty cool too. And by the way, yes, the links to the other videos are in the description, but they're a hyperlink, not just something like that's got the text changed, so it doesn't look like a link. I'm silly and other silly. Okay, go ahead.
But yeah, I had no idea that Ricky or the Saki Bomb Foundation was doing this until I think they tagged me in a Instagram post, and I was like, huh. I didn't it didn't have anything to do with the Saki Bomb Foundation, so I was like, why am I tagged in one of their posts? But so I guess they, for every ace, and I don't know if they've done this in the years past or if this is the first year they're doing it, but for every ace on tour, they give the player who got the ace the option to send like a disc golf package, I guess, like baskets and or maybe just one. I didn't even read the fine print, but essentially like a package to send like a school that they could start like a disc golf program or like work it into their curriculum or even just have on the property that they can use. And yeah, so I guess Paige Shu is somehow linked to the Saki Bomb Foundation, if she's just like a spokesperson or handling that side of it. But she reached out to me and asked where she could send the package. So we're currently looking for a destination. My first thought was to send it to Invermere. But I guess, Jesse's been working closely with his brother who's teaching at the elementary school there. So they already have a bit of knowledge about the sport, but I'm not sure if it would be best used there if we just kind of start fresh at a different school that hasn't really been introduced to it yet, or even like an area that just doesn't have a course in like anywhere near it. So definitely up for recommendations.
Well, there you go. Leave a comment in the YouTubes and let Max know where he should send this stuff. And of course, you requested a DiscGolfPark basket and whatnot, I'm sure.
Yeah. Definitely requested. I'm not sure if I had a choice. But
You didn't read the fine print.
Yeah.
I haven't read
That's
the
awesome.
fine print yet.
That's awesome.
But cool initiative.
Very cool.
Yeah, definitely like a nice little add-on for, and all these associations and charities and things that are getting attached to these guys. I'm sure it's just the place to like get tax breaks when you're making that kind of money. But I really like to see that tax break money going to grow disc golf, not to,
it's still money out of his
accountant tells
pocket.
to go. Yeah, absolutely.
I think the catch is they only get Saki Bomb slammers, so it's kids are going to be like struggling with these grossly overstable approach discs for the rest of their lives. But it's still a nice gesture.
They're not going to know what hyzers are until.
Yeah. I had a question about Austin. Do you think that being, I guess you've been on the tour for a year now, and this is your second year, but do you think having a new course that's new to all players, do you think that kind of leveled the playing field a little bit for some of the newer players on the tour?
I don't know if it levels the playing field, but it definitely has a new aspect to it. And I think mostly just because I heard so much negativity going into it. Like people who played it on Monday, I don't know if anybody liked it on Monday. Like I
Mhm.
saw Eric Oakley was playing in the group behind us, and he was just came out to her because it was like a little bit of a backup on hole 18, and hole 17 is probably the most questionable hole and under the most scrutiny over the week. But he was just huffing and puffing, just not having it, saying it was the worst course he's ever played on tour, and I was like, I mean, I thought it was pretty fun, but yeah, I think I heard most of the negativity come from like seasoned pros. So I think people have just gotten used to playing courses that they're accustomed to, and they know what the tour standard is. And like I've noticed, I mean, some tournaments, it's just they don't get it set up 100% until Tuesday or Wednesday. And so if
Mhm.
you're playing the course on Monday or Tuesday, you might, there might not be all the OBs up. There might not be all the flags and all the advertising walls. And like it plays a lot different, especially when you're learning a ball golf course where it's not so obvious where your landing zones are. It's a little more kind of vague and just going to airspace. And once you've played it a few times, you get a better idea of where the intended lines and where the intended landing zones are. And it definitely helps to have advertising flags and boards and little markers for the OB just for like visual cues. And even just like having people out there watching, and obviously they're not standing in the middle of the fairway, hopefully not. Um, but I think Monday was just tough because it was just so bare and you were just kind of on a new property, didn't really know where you were going. Maybe I don't even think the T signs were up, so you were relying on your caddy book to kind of visualize where you were going. Um, so I think people have give it unjustified negativity. And then because I mean Texas State's was a completely new course as well, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I think, I don't think there was as much negativity on that one. And I don't know if it was just the kind of hangover from Austin that people were like, okay, like came into it with a different mindset rather than coming there, playing a couple holes and just deciding they hated the course. Um, but I mean, I think both of those courses definitely could stay on the Pro Tour. And obviously, like first time, I don't know if either of those tracks had any tournament play before the Pro Tour rolled in. So it's really tough. Like, even if you have the best course designers, it's really tough to just put a hole from, on the course from course design or notes and know that it's going to be a good hole or know that it's not going to cause any weird, like, I mean, 17 was just such a, like, there was probably like 12 legit different ways to play the hole. And like Paul Macbeth played it completely different all 3 rounds. So it's like when arguably the best player in the field is just like out there winging it on a hole where he had plenty of time to establish a game plan, but clearly didn't really settle on one. That's probably not what they intended with the hole, but
But what hole created the most compelling highlight of the whole tournament?
exactly.
Hole, I
And
don't know what it was, but it was the grenade shot for sure.
Par five. That's
From a positive perspective, Andre. It was like this crazy hole 17, and everyone's like, "This is stupid. I hate this hole." And then like you get Paul Macbeth, he's like, "I'm gonna putt, and then I'm gonna go outside the entire hole and screw your forest. We're just gonna take the path."
and
It was fun.
that's
It's
a
disc golf.
that's a scenario where on Monday, I think both James Proctor and Eric Oakley had just there wasn't OB on the right there on Monday. And even in the caddy book, they hadn't put OB there. So they didn't really consider people who were just worth or thinking they would just like crank something out into the open. And I mean, it wasn't like it was wide open to that area, but people were, yeah, James and Eric were just throwing something through the bushes. Hopefully they get out to the open space and then throwing the hyzer over everything. And Paul essentially kind of made a little mini version of that, staying in bounds on that jump putt and taking that same line. But yeah, that was a scenario that they didn't foresee an issue with a hole and completely changed it for Tuesday. So if you weren't, and I mean, yeah, they changed out the T sign and the caddy book was updated, but you could have played it on Monday and just been like, yeah, this hole completely changes things. That's kind of a thing that a brand new course, there are these kind of X factors that you don't really think of, or you can't think of every hole, every opportunity that all these pros are going to, put their heads together and find a creative way to try to attack a hole that, took some big numbers.
I don't remember what the hole even looked like, so I don't have great input. But I do like having multiple ways to play certain holes. Usually with like well placed OB for layup versus go for it kind of things. But I don't have a problem with there being multiple ways to do it. But sometimes when it's cheese that is the best result, you don't want the jump putt off the tee thing happening and stuff like that. I've played a couple courses where that's prevalent, and feels like the course designer was sleeping.
It wasn't the best way to play it. Like he did it in the previous round and jump putted into a tree, and it like completely ruined his life.
No, and I mean, I didn't see anybody else do it, but I think he was one of the few that thought of that, because it's like it was just a hole that the intended line was a little too random. It was a very specific, like very sharp 90-degree, touchy, like not a long shot at all. Like you're probably at best going 240 feet. So it's a very short drive and then the tightest corridor imaginable. It was probably less than like an arm's width for, I don't know, 80 feet to the hole. So it was two pretty random shots where it's like, sure, I mean, maybe you expect the best in the world to execute those shots, but the best in the world are usually looking at the probability of shots. And I guess Paul took a jump putt and a hyzer, thought those were higher probability than these touchy short shots. So
fair enough.
Cool.
I think he was being a big baby. You guys don't have to say it. I'll say it. Paul, come at me, bro. He was being a big baby. After the first round, he got burned because he thought he made a good drive, and it didn't quite end up to have a good angle. And then he was a big pouty baby about it. Oh, yeah, I said it. Big pouty baby. Paul Macbeth. Great for the sport, by the way. We've sung it guys before.
But I agree. No, I agree with his comments were a little babyish. But, I mean, people are going to listen. He's the best player in the world, so.
Yeah, it's a hole that deserves some scrutiny and got it. But I did want to touch on the negativity thing because I was playing, was this 2 years ago now, maybe, practice round Ontario Provincials with Thomas Gilbert. And it was 2 days before the tournament, and they were just repainting the OB lines and stuff like that. And one thing that stuck with me is he said that 2 days before the tournament, repainting the OB lines, there would be a lineup, if there was a staff tent, of complaints from players. If everything wasn't perfect the way it's supposed to be a week in advance, someone's going to complain about it. And I think this is that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is for sure worthy of criticism. If at that level, people are practicing the course to be able to perform in front of a crowd.
It's their job.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I wouldn't say the Pro Tour is all that better. Like I would say that they have done just that, like repaint lines a couple days, like on a Wednesday or something. So I wouldn't say that it's like everything needs to be perfect. I mean, because Mondays are almost, it's never 100% ready to go.
Yeah.
And I mean, sure, a lot of people are traveling on Sundays and Mondays. So, and I mean, the Pro Tour is traveling on those days as well. So it's not like these courses are in pristine condition all the, like, yeah, they have some days where there is a bit of blurred lines and gray area. But sure, like a day before the event, you don't want, yeah, a line that was 30 centimeters from the wall to be 50 centimeters to the wall, and now you're out of bounds when you should have been safe. But
Yeah, tournament day surprises in general, not good things.
I have noticed that there's far too many people on the pro tour players that just complain to the T about anything and everything. And I mean, it is like their job and our job to like give feedback to the tournament staff so that they can have the best course for the week. And if there are like it's usually like little stubs from bushes that they had taken down or little trees that they've removed, and they like sticking out of the ground for a little bit. And people are like, "Oh, I just about broke my toe on this thing. What? Like, why isn't this spray painted or removed?" And it's like they can't they can't do like they can't walk around with a microphone like magnifying glass and see every small detail that it could be an issue. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's usually like T pads that are a little uneven or that have a little bit too wear, or it's such like minute things that maybe is good to point out, but it's always so negative that it comes off as just people complaining and yeah, being babies essentially.
Crybabies.
Right,
Mhm.
babies.
We're one exciting World Pickleball Championship away from half of those people not having jobs anymore. If if foot golf takes over the national consciousness in the United States, and people stop playing disc golf as much, that's we're this close to being irrelevant as a sport again.
Again.
Why don't we transition that? We can kind of transition this into a little bit of a Music City Open preview. How often have you been able to play the course?
I've got 2 rounds in. I took one yesterday. It was pretty abysmal out there. And so yeah, got a round in today and on Tuesday. I played the event last year, so I would say like 90% of the holes are the same. Um, the biggest change is that they're starting on what was hole. I guess it was only hole 2. No, hole 3, because now hole 2 is 18, and they've kind of just taken out a few holes, um, lengthened a lot, and there's some changes that isn't getting the most positive feedback. But for the most part, I think it plays a lot better than last year. Kind of a weird, like back to back island holes, 16 and 17, that I'm sure people won't enjoy, just like the flow of like the final few holes. You don't really want to go back to back, just kind of similar holes.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Do you think they're doing it
but
to
I think,
force some drama in the finish?
I don't know. I would say so, but usually like one island hole is enough.
Yeah, back to back's a bit much for sure.
But but the weirdest thing is like the proximity of hole 1 and 18 to the player parking, and I'm sure they'll have shuttles and stuff, but it's such a trek right now
Mm-hmm.
to park at the course and then walk to like the middle of the property to tee off. So, and yeah, I'm sure they'll have shuttles for tournament days, but and I'm not sure if like the flow of even just like hole 18 is all that exciting. So I'm not 100% sure, not 100% sold on their decision to kind of shift everything. But last year they had a horrible hole one where you're throwing at this little tiny gap towards water, essentially an island green that took a ton of big numbers, and just didn't. It yeah, it was just tough to start the tournament on that hole because it was just such a touchy shot through like a super early, super narrow gap. Um, and I don't know if I actually hit the gap any round. So I have definitely have some PTSD with that hole and was glad to see it gone.
Was that the
So
one
is
that
it
they had the playoff on? Like Mason and Ricky had the playoff on last year? I
That
feel
was
like
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay.
Dick won it last year.
Right, right, right.
right?
But
Anyway,
I'm not sure. I don't know if I've watched that coverage of 2020 or 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
anyway,
Um,
not important.
but yeah, but I think the course is a lot better in this iteration than last year. Definitely lengthened the right holes and shortened the right holes. They turned a weird par four into a par three that just kind of makes it a lot better. Um, but it'll probably get some question marks, especially the double island and one of the, I think is hole three. That's kind of just a weird woodsy flexy shot that doesn't really fit on the property. But I mean, it's hard when you do have these properties that are so open and just very bomber friendly. And obviously, you want to incorporate a little bit of technicality to it, but it's so tough to get that right where you're not just kind of throwing a hole that is on your local tiny kind of woodsy tricky shot hole, um, on this pro tour level bomber course, like just kind of mixing it into like a Jonesboro-esque track. um, so I don't think they fully accomplished what they had envisioned for that hole. But I mean, you can't hate it. It's still like there's an attended line. It's a little touchy, but I mean, pro tour got to throw some curveballs at us here and there.
And you're joined by a couple of Canadians, the pretty common Thomas Gilbert. It's going to be out there chucking discs. And also on the FPO side, Chantel Badinsky is back out on the road representing the Maple Leaf out there in the
Yeah.
FPO division.
Yeah, and a quick little shout out to Chantel. She actually, unfortunately, you won in a playoff, but unfortunately, Chantel lost in a playoff at an A tier at the Skybree Disc Open in Princeton, Indiana. So she took it to a playoff, and unfortunately, she couldn't get it done. But that's still a really good showing from Chantel down at one of the a big A tier. So quick little shout out to Chantel.
Nice.
Yeah, it's cool to see her commitment to the tour. I wasn't sure if she was just doing an early leg and then going home, but it seems like she's pretty committed to a season.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see her out there more. So,
hey, before moving on, how's Nashville treating you?
It's good.
That's a cool city,
we went out. Yeah, we went out last night. I mean, we weren't out for too long. We just did the I guess they call it Broadway Street. It's about 6 blocks of just absolute like country mayhem. Um, and it's not my thing, but I'm embracing it for this week. And it's wild. Like it was a Wednesday night, and it felt like New Year's Eve like party town. Like it was just it kind of just gave like a Vegas vibe, a country Vegas vibe.
Yeah, I was going to
But
say, Nashville's the new Vegas. It really is.
yeah, and just like walking down the street, like literally every bar or restaurant had live music blaring out. It was like a competition to see which restaurant was being listened to the people on the street. Like people were just walking around, kind of eavesdropping on at every bar, and it was just like live music literally everywhere you look.
And the best live music that you'll find anywhere. I was there a couple of years ago to go see a concert, and then same thing on a Wednesday. Go out, just pick any random bar, and the bar band there are the most talented musicians you'll ever see live. Because it's all the session musicians that live there. Because it's one of the homes of music in the United States. So that all these players, they have nothing to do in the evening except for play music, and they're unbelievably talented. Super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And they got barbecue there too. Do you have some barbecue yet?
I haven't had any barbecue. Usually, I mean, probably pretty gluten-free friendly, but I'm sure I'll get some barbecue at some point.
Yeah,
Ain't no
I'm
gluten in
hungry.
brisket.
I know, you're making me hungry.
I have not eaten today.
Neither. All right, fire up that barbecue afterwards.
I got scolded by a young American from the South for calling my backyard cooking device a barbecue. That's a grill. Barbecue is the type of food. Like, get out of here. He's like, you don't barbecue on the barbecue. And then I said, yeah, you put it in a smoker. And then the conversation ended really fast.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, Nashville's on the list of places that I've always wanted to go to. So live vicariously through you, Max.
Well, it should be a good week.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the players look forward to this one just for the sights and sounds. So yeah, definitely be dabbling in the I wouldn't say nightlife. We're not going to be out to the wee hours of the morning, but we'll get around. See the
All
sea.
right.
And what piece of random country accoutrement would you win if you won this tournament?
Yeah, do you get a hat or some spurs?
It's a good question.
Barbecue.
I mean,
Probably
I
something
would-
music themed.
You get a
yeah,
barbecue.
probably a guitar or something.
Oh, is this the
Yeah.
guitar week? I think it might be the
I mean-
guitar week.
Definitely lean into the Music City thing.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not even sure what the logo.
It's
They
a
usually
guitar
have
pick.
like,
Pick.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a guitar pick.
oh yeah, I got guitar pick.
That'll be your trophy, a singular guitar pick.
Yeah.
With a hole drilled in it that you wear as a necklace.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Hashtag artsy.
I was gonna comment on the because this is kind of going backwards a little bit, but just comment on Austin, because Austin also kind of got good reviews just as far as the extracurricular activities that you could do, and I think there was a big festival going on there, and the crowds there were really large, so it's kind of nice to see the Disc Golf Pro Tour kind of getting into these spots where it's not necessarily just about the disc golf, but it's somewhere that the disc golfers can go and enjoy the sights and sounds of the area, and it seems like disc golf is being well received in these areas as well. So it's kind of cool to see that trend continue. And just a kind of note on that. Never mind. Lost my train of thought.
Train
Gone.
left the station, but you can't find it. Eh?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
Wow.
I mean, Austin, definitely a city that deserves that kind of exposure for disc golf, because I think a lot of people speak highly of their disc golf scene. And just as a city, I think a lot of people from the States, speak highly of the quality of life in Austin. I can't say the same thing about Houston. Not gonna lie, had a little higher expectations for a city of that magnitude. But it could have been just the area that we were in, but definitely Austin took the cake for the Texas city with the most to offer. So I would hope to see them keep the Pro Tour stop on the schedule, and especially like the proximity to the city. A lot of times they'll advertise the tournament as, I mean, even this tournament, I mean, it's not really in Nashville. Um, Probably like 20 minutes from city center, but I mean, sometimes we're 30 or 40 minutes. Like I think Des Moines is one that like the course is probably 40 minutes from Des Moines. It's not even in like the same like real city or city limits. It's
Right.
so far from the actual city that is in the name of the tournament, but it's in a completely different town.
Yeah.
Well, can you imagine them allocating that valuable Iowa real estate so close to the city to something like disc golf, Max?
Hey, we might have listeners in Iowa, Jesse. Easy.
Hey, Picker Park is one of my favorites on tour. Not
Yeah.
not top 5, but definitely top 10.
Yeah,
So
like
Des Moines,
that one also well received among the locals there. Always well attended, and my train is back on the rails because this is what I was going to ask here, is with the Disc Golf Pro Tour kind of coming to these areas. Do you think that, and this is a question for everyone, do you think that the Disc Golf Pro Tour is trending towards these courses being more friendly for spectators versus trying to get their their money's worth out of the viewership through their media? And I bring this up because we were just talking about the changes to the holes. And while yes, it's kind of an inconvenient walk to hole one now, but do you think that it maybe leans? One of the reasons they changed it is that it leans towards maybe better viewership for their viewers in that aren't there on the premises. So I'd just be curious. It kind of seems like a delicate balance of the Disc Golf Pro Tour is trying to walk here. So
I don't think
yeah,
it's a
I mean,
delicate balance. Sorry, Max. There's a pause, so I went for it. I don't think it's a delicate balance. I think they're gearing everything to live spectators on premise and away from it. I don't think it's a secret. I think that's just kind of the prerogative of the tour right now.
yeah, but where do you draw the line as far as the playability of the course versus making it?
Again, I think they skipped that line already. I think they are courses for viewership more than for play. When you look at some of the new stuff coming out, right? If there's trees or hills that could be in the way of good camera angles, or if it's difficult for spectators to even access, to walk in and stuff like that, I think those have been changed or cut.
yeah, I mean, it's no secret that the live in-person spectators are generating a lot of income for them, because that's I mean, paying for a VIP ticket is definitely more than a DGN subscription. So, and I mean, it does even make a difference on live coverage or post-produced coverage to see these courses with thousands of people lined in the fairways rather than, I mean, probably Champions Cup is the only tournament that hasn't been axed because of the difficulty of hosting so many spectators. I'm interested to see if they've made any changes this year, but I mean, I think we've talked about this before on a previous episode, but I think they had like 400 spectators, and that was their max. They couldn't allow more people on the premises just because it was too difficult and too congested to have more on the course. So yeah, definitely the trend is definitely more open holes, um, and it's hard to say that this iteration of the course here in Nashville is like very obvious that that's their focus, but because hole one last year was arguably better for people just to watch as a spectator there. Um, but I mean, yeah, I don't know if that takes into account hole 18 and the final few stretches of the holes where people are, wanting to be on the sidelines watching that live. But it's definitely no secret that they want as many people there on Championship Sunday watching live.
if you're a disc golf course designer and you're listening and you want to have a future in this, get good at designing disc golf courses on old and hopefully retired ball golf courses, because I think there's going to be a good future for people that are willing to do that. Because yeah, I think we're going to see more and more of these traditional woodsy courses getting replaced by ball golf course retrofits a lot of the time. And you can do it, and you can do a good job of it. And they've done on some of these courses, they've done a really good job of making fun, watchable golf, where your lines are still through whatever, trees and over whatever hills are there on the course. And then in the fairways, there's lots of room for the spectators. But yeah, they got to figure out how to get really good at designing those courses, or else it's going to get a lot less interesting, and it's going to be people chucking 600-foot bombs down giant fairways, and it's just not going to be as much fun.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think Austin and Texas States and Houston did a good job of not just using the golf fairways all the time, using the trees that were there, and trying to make a few woodsy holes. And I think, I think they got the job done, ticked all the boxes on making exciting disc golf on where you easily could have just had huge, wide open fairways, like you said. So I think they're starting to figure out the algorithm to make the course as playable and still fun and yeah, watchable for people in person and on live coverage.
Yeah, like the LVC is starting to become like the outlier in terms of not bad, just not very interesting ball golf, course golf.
Bro, Utah Mulligans, that's the worst disc golf
Wasn't
you
amazing.
can watch.
DDO.
But yeah.
I would even say Country Club at DDO is not great watching a lot of those holes. Like the new courses they added in the park are better.
It is really
I think
exciting watching
we're just
100
evolving.
people weather a tropical storm to be able to play disc golf. No one was
Different
killed,
issue.
That needs to change too.
Yeah. We need to change the wind in Kansas.
Well, I mean, they pushed it later in the year this year, so they're out of, or the idea was to push it out of like the high wind season. So yeah, and I'm sure that's a pretty big deal because so many of these tournaments have just been locked in on this weekend every year, and it's tough to convince, especially a tournament of that magnitude, to just say, yeah, change time of year. And maybe Worlds was kind of the only way that would happen, that they kind of were, yeah, they still had DDO early in the year, and we came back to the same venue for, what was it, 2 months later, and it was significantly better. So I'm sure that kind of got the ball rolling, and made it more of a smooth transition. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the part of the tour is still just out of convenience and out of tradition. I mean, courses like De La Viega, it's just like, honestly, that shouldn't be on the tour ever. And I mean, it was on the tour last year. So they're starting to make changes, but in a lot of ways, it's tough to just make it overnight.
Yeah. And the thing with golf courses is like, if you want to grow to be a certain size in the sport, like golf had the same thing. And so they built courses with big parking lots with, gates for people to enter. And it's, instead of trying to build all that stuff out in 15 or 20 disc golf courses around the country, like just try and squeeze a course onto, some existing infrastructure is going to save a lot of headaches. But they better keep Idlewild. Like they better keep some of these really, really good disc golfy courses.
Yeah, and I'm glad they kept Champions Cup at WR Jackson, because it is probably, I mean, the best wooded course that I've ever played. And I think Nate Sexton is the only one that comes to mind that just absolutely hates it. And I'm not sure if that's just purely, yeah, unlucky circumstances that he's had in the past that have just added up, and he can't take it anymore. But I think it is probably one of the more fair, tight, technical courses that I think really does challenge the best in the world and deserves a major. We have, yeah, European Open, Worlds. You never know what you're going to get, and USDGC. It's just like it's not a lot of woods golf. So if all the majors are just similar play styles, then are we actually getting, yeah, worthy winners of all these majors?
I just got excited. I just remembered that their Worlds is at Smugs again this year. Oh, man. Can't wait.
Yeah, as soon as we devolve into Heiser golf all the time, I think we've lost something pretty important to the sport. But there has to be a balance, like you said. A place like WR Jackson does it right.
Yeah.
Even like Hornets in Charlotte there. I think that does it pretty close to right as well. But man, they're few and far between that are big enough in scope and technical enough to challenge both ways. Because if you threw these guys out on a bunch of 250-foot technical shapes, it's just as guilty of being the wrong thing as the Heiser golf.
Yeah. It could be just a frozen.
Max,
Sorry.
you're losing your connection and you had a funny pause face.
Yes, that was great.
Am I
You have a happier pause face now.
Oh, the other one was very happy as well.
Yeah.
But-
This one. You look so smiley. Your teeth look like they're on either side of your nose.
Yeah, maybe not the best content for people listening on your favorite podcast network, but definitely great for the YouTubes.
Maybe we move on to something that has a little less Max while his connection gets back.
This is the perfect time to get into our sponsor of the episode, DiscGolfPark. DiscGolfPark is a unique disc golf course concept developed in Finland in 2005. It is based on the idea of building sports facilities in an environmentally friendly way. DiscGolfPark provides great experiences for players of all skill levels, from beginners to professionals. Our main ideology is to introduce disc golf to new audiences. There are several options to suit any kind of course, and all official disc golf parks include professional and safe course design, Disc Golf Park Pro targets, tee pads and tee signs, and an info board to welcome players to your course. The Disc Golf Park World concept consists of multiple courses designed for different types of players. Multi-golf is a new, fun activity for the whole family. In multi-golf, 3 forms of golf are played: foot golf, disc golf, and park-style pitch and putt. School Disc Golf Park offers students a new and exciting form of exercise for the physical education classes. A course suitable for schools can be designed even in a small area, for instance, a schoolyard. Furthermore, the costs of school disc golf park are lower than those of regular disc golf parks. We also offer private and group lessons or clinics. For more information, check out the website at discgolfpark.com and request a quote today.
Wow.
And if you reach out to Matt at Disc Golf Park, tell him happy birthday. He just had a birthday.
Yeah, there you go. Speaking of Disc Golf Park, I mean, we can kind of get into Rusty Ratings a little bit here, because the Rusty paddle is part of the Rusty Ratings. It's going to be the finale. It's the one I keep hyping up because for some reason it's got very few registrants, but I think it's might be the best. I just got word from Matt that there's going to be tee pads in the ground. At least that's the plan. The crew is hard at work getting the course play into like a really good playable condition. It's obviously been playable for about a year now, so very excited about that one. I had to back out of the Rusty Scholar because of my elbow, and I will not be playing the Raven's Nest, but I'm hoping that it's going to be good for those last couple of events, because that's one that's on my list of must plays, and I'm really excited to walk the property with Matt later in a week or so.
Yeah, I'm kind of stunned at the low registration.
Yeah.
New course, a course that spent like a good year and a half under like heavy scrutiny and development on a fantastic property that is also closer for everybody than the far ends of the tournament. Like it's right there for all the golden guys, and I think they are probably the ones that are most signed up. But for people coming from places like Cranbrook and Invermere, that's like a 2 hour and 10-minute drive for them or something, and shy of an hour for us maybe.
Yeah, and I get that can be a long time to do it in the morning, but the nice thing is that they'll have camping and they have lodging, so you can book all of that through the website as well. So definitely go check that out, get more information on it, on Disc Golf Scene, and just look for the Rusty Paddle, because that one's an awesome one to sign up. And while we're on the Rusty rating series, we did have the Rusty Scholar last week, and it was great. It was really well received. I believe for last year we had about 32 registrants, and we were up over 50 this time. So that's always nice to see these small tournaments kind of growing. And the course was in decent condition. We had to make a couple of changes just to make things a little bit safer with some added out of bounds and whatnot. And yeah, it was awesome. So in the MPO division, it's kind of a crazy story because Ben Loggins shot quite not poorly, but poorly for him, and he ended up in last place after the first round.
That's awful. He's terrible at disc
Oh,
golf.
I know. I mean, it was snowy. There was
That's
snow.
so embarrassing.
There was no wind, but it was snowing. And then the second round, the wind picked up, and he
And it
shot
got
a
even
minus
worse
10
for him. What?
and won the tournament.
What?
I know.
Last
right?
to first.
Last to first.
It's kind of the
Oh my
most Ben
God.
thing of all time.
Yeah.
If anyone was going to do it in
Ho-hum.
the tournament, it's Ben.
Little old
Yeah.
me. Look what I did.
Huge congrats
Good
to
job,
Ben. He beat out a couple of guys by a stroke. So, and that would be Casey Hannemeyer and Eric Fast that he took down. So, yeah.
All friends
Yeah, I
of
know.
the show.
That's maybe a good sign, because last year Ben had some back issues that were stopping him from playing a lot, like a lot of pain. And hopefully if those are resolved, we'll see some return to form for him, because I know the season prior to that, he was in the top 10 highest rated players in the country. I think he was 998 or 997 or something like that. And then he dropped all the way down to like 950, 960 with his back injury. Hopefully we're going to see it climb back up for him.
He does things with a wraith that I believe are illegal in 17 countries.
I think it's that Chunk's boss, honestly, is the one that he does the dirty things with. But also, yeah, that red wraith too. Big silly, that guy.
Yeah.
Good player. Fun to play with.
Yeah, he's really fun to play with and watch. So I'm excited to see him play at the Rusty Ravens this weekend. So that's kind of touched on that a little bit. And just in case anyone that's playing that tournament is listening, the course is actually in really good condition. It's maybe the best condition that we've seen the course coming out of the winter that since it's been in place. It's only been around for a couple of years now, but it's really great. It's might even be the best time to play it because it just kind of like there's no green up and it's just so wide open. So I think it's going to be amazing. And there's not a lot of snow on the ground. There's a couple spots in the gullies, and some of the trails are a little bit difficult to walk, but I'm sure everyone will be able to handle it. It's fine.
Making me nervous, because that clay mud can be awful slippery, and it's
Yeah.
definitely irrelevant on like 4, 5, 6 holes.
Yeah. But the nice thing is that they've been continually upgrading the course, and they put some wood chips down on some of the slicker trails. So
Oh, cool.
hopefully some of them will be navigatable.
Navigable.
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 We got Max
Something
back. He's moving. He's in high definition again.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
Max in HD.
go. Oh,
Yeah.
but he's
Yeah.
got no sound.
We're rocking the hot spot off. No sound. That's right. Is that my fault?
You have sound. It's just very delayed.
Are we good now?
Oh,
Oh,
I heard the words and the lips didn't move. That's a crazy amount of desync.
You could probably even come back in if you want. I don't know. I don't know if we have really
We don't
much
have
more.
too much more to talk on. Maybe
One last big piece of news.
Oh!
Canadian Disc Golf tournament announcement. We're going to try and announce these weekly. So get ready. You ready, Matt?
I'm ready.
All
Just
right.
getting the air horn.
No.
Fifth stop. The fifth stop on the tour is July 21st to 23rd, and it is the BC Open.
I knew it.
That's
Holy
right.
mackerel.
Yeah.
One of the most legendary, biggest, most prestigious tournaments in Canada, the BC Open. One of my favorites.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting, and there are still spots available. I know this one was we were actually, I think, sitting in these seats when registration opened, and you watched that number climb up real fast. But they have 622 people that can play in the tournament. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's going to be awesome. There's still some MPO spots.
There's
It looks
80 people in MPO. It's not bad.
yeah.
528 people registered so far. This is going to be the biggest tournament of the year
Yeah.
in Canada.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
looks-
sure they're running at the Nationals numbers.
Totally. So that's very exciting. We can't wait to do coverage of that as well as the rest of the tour. So
I'm excited. I booked the best Airbnb.
I know. Sounds awesome.
Sleeps like 14 people on an acreage where you have a private practice field in the backyard and everything.
Yeah.
Eee.
Yeah. We should, Matt, this is just kind of some inner business here, but we should talk to Craig about what our accommodations are going to look like. So,
Yep, definitely.
because that sounds like a good option.
I think we should do that.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it. The other thing we had in our news was that Max won Little Rock, which we already touched on. But Matt put in here a little note here saying that you shot a 1023 average rating, which is kind of cool.
And MPO rounded out by Cat Merch. No female players at that tournament at all, from what I saw, which is kind of peculiar.
I think there was like 2 female AMs and then Cap Merch in MPO, and she beat a number of players.
Sarah
Crazy.
Hokum was in attendance, but I don't know if Kat just couldn't convince her to play. But I guess her significant other was playing, so she was just there supporting him. Is the audio okay, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you sound
No, you're
great.
good
Now
now.
we're nodding because we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're rocking the hotspot off the iPhone, so surely not the best connection. But yeah, no, it was. I mean, I played with Kat first round, and she was definitely giving it. She was taking it seriously, and she's a local from there, so that's why she was so involved. And then I think she had Deanne Carey on her bag, so I guess
Wow.
the AJ and Deanne were in town, and Nico was there for round 2. Just, I don't think he was caddying, but he was just hanging out. But yeah, so a few Pro Tour faces. I don't know if I think Sarah Hokum's an Idaho girl, but yeah, she was there. I was kind of half expected her just to play, since she was there like for the entirety of the week. So always saw her van in the park. So it was just kind of, and it was kind of one of those tournaments where a lot of people just kind of registered very last minute. So I think they still had like 10 or 15 spots up for grabs. But it was definitely like fluctuating by the day who was on the registration list. But I'm sure the tornado warnings kind of threw a wrench in everybody's plans, but I mean, it turned out well. We had great weather for the rest of the weekend. It was just the Friday before where everybody was like, just hunker down and make it through. But yeah, I mean, again, one of those courses that you should be like putting for birdie on almost every hole. I think I was 100% circle 2 in regulation on that second round, so was literally putting for birdie on every hole. But yeah, I mean, you still have to go out there and execute. I know Jakob and Yalta did a bit of struggles. I'm not sure if it was basket related. We were playing on some Mach 5s that were very unjust. Saw far too many good putts not stick. But yeah, sometimes you have to adjust your putt to a basket that doesn't catch certain style putts.
Yeah.
But also can just kind of be that mindset thing where if you're not putting your confident putt, it's game over already.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting because if I remember, Jakob putts really hard, doesn't he?
Yeah, and
And
Yalta
that.
putts.
Oh wow. Yeah, I haven't paid too much attention when I was watching your practice round, but yeah, I know Jakob putts hard, and those are not baskets for firm putters. So
No.
slow it down, get your California float on, and do the thing. But,
Putt like Steady Ed would putt.
yeah, exactly. God, I don't know if we want to keep going back to this, but I've got my end of podcast question that I haven't done for a while.
Yeah.
It's not going to be philosophical, but it is going to be fun. What is a persimmon? Now that you're in the South, what is a persimmon?
I
If
want
you
to
don't-
say that it might be the most delicious fruit I've ever eaten.
What?
And I think I was back home in Invermere when I had one for the first time. Or maybe it was in Sweden. I don't know. But it was a scenario that I'd never heard of it, never seen it, never knew of its existence, but they are delicious.
It's
And
funny
off the
because
top of my
I've
head,
only seen
Doesn't
pictures
answer
and
the
they just
question,
look
though.
like tomato pumpkins.
yeah, no, it's like
Is it citrus family? Apple, pear family?
a half between citrus and pear apple. Like it's very sweet, but almost. Nah, I take it back about the citrus thing. It's like a much sweeter apple,
Tomato. It's
not
got
a
to be some
tomato.
sort of tomato. That's what it looks like.
Okay, yeah, but very sweet, just like a sweet tomato. That's so bad.
Does it have the consistency of? Does it have the consistency of a tomato?
No, to consistency
No.
of an apple.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe a juicier, like a pear, definitely pear.
This is my best question yet. Because persimmon's something that I don't think grows in Canada naturally at all, but it's something very like symbolic of the southern states.
Hmm.
And
can't
it
say
sounds
I-
like persimmon.
Person. Yeah, no, they're delicious though. Highly recommend.
Dang.
I wonder when they're in season.
I thought it was just like a junk fruit that nobody ate because they don't ship them up here, but maybe it's just like a cultural thing or maybe they're hard to ship
They're
because
hoarding them all for themselves.
they just want all them persimmons for themselves.
I thought it was one of those made up fruits that they use in like paint chip color names, tea, like herbal tea descriptions, like a wine tasting. You'd be like, it's got just like a hint of persimmon, and like nobody knows what it actually is. It's just like this made up fruit.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's like a goji berry,
Yeah.
except they don't come in bags dried, I guess.
What a glow up the goji berry had, hey? From nothing to the biggest berry of all time.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Well, for everybody else out there, tell us your persimmon stories in the comments.
Let us know if you've seen a persimmon in the wild.
What's your favorite
Yeah.
persimmon?
We do have some updates on our Patreon because our little bid towards the end of the last podcast, it worked. However,
Thank you, patrons.
thank you, patrons. I do have to admit, I was given false information by patron. So if you missed that on the last episode, you didn't make it through the Scott Stokely episode, Jesse said he would dye his mustache if we reached 15 patrons.
That's the sound of a mustache to all of our audio-only listeners.
And at the time, he was led to believe that we only had 2 patrons to go. I double-checked patron after we recorded, and we had 15. We already had. Sorry, at the time we had 13 patrons, and we only needed 2 more. The good news is we got the 2. We got the 2 patrons. Bad news is the bad news is that I was given misinformation. We actually only have 12 patrons now, even with those two. So we still need 3 more patrons.
And Jesse will dye his mustache black.
Yes.
Was my mom one of the patrons that heard about the mustache and dropped off the list immediately?
No. So the reason that I was given wrong information was because I looked at our messaged all of my patrons, kind of the on the page, and it lists all our previous patrons. So there are 3 people that have dropped off for I don't know why. I don't know why would you stop being a patron? It's so cheap, but that is the case. But we did have 2 people, 2 new ones, Bruce and Sherry Ogilvy. Ogilvy.
You
got her.
Got it. So thank you guys so much for your guys' contributions. These did come with a caveat though, because if you're listening on the last episode, Matt said that if we got those patrons, we'd have to take these Canucks jerseys down.
I was maybe speaking out of turn a little bit, but I thought, maybe there'd be a lot of Vancouver Canuck haters that might get motivated by that.
Yeah,
I would.
well, the caveat to these 2 patrons is that they are only patrons if the Canucks jerseys stay up. So there you go.
Bruce, thank you. Sherry?
Bruce and Sherry, yeah.
Bruce, Sherry, thank you.
Yeah.
But thank
Truly
you.
appreciate it. So 3 more to go, and then this gorgeous thing here.
Burnt ends on the face. Tamalty.
I told Caitlin no matter what, I'm only keeping it to TCO. So if these patrons take their time to sign up, this mustache might be short-lived, but...
Got to jump
What
on
if
it.
they do it right after TCO? You got to wear it for an entire calendar year, so that's something.
No, it's a promise to my beautiful woman that the mustache will leave after TCO.
And not only that,
which
but
TCO?
Which TCO? Get out of here.
we may have some bonus coverage in between then, so get on it if you are thinking about it. If you're on the fence, please help us out. It goes a long ways, and if you do it soon enough, maybe Jesse will get on some video coverage and he'll have some glorious mustache on that coverage. So we'll
So
do some
nice.
slow motion replays, and it'll just be of your mustache just blowing in the wind.
Okay, second Jesse podcast question. How do you guys drink liquids? I feel like my dog that just got out of the bowl, like I'm dripping around the house if I take a sip of water.
Oh yeah, this is
It's like a skill. I gotta curl my top lip up.
You gotta trim it. You can't have the mustache unless you want to be. Who's that guy that does all the Ford commercials? Sam something.
Sam Bennett is
No.
a hockey player, and you're not who I'm thinking of.
Guy
Yeah.
with a real deep
Sam
voice. He
Elliott.
was in
Sam Elliott.
That's
yeah.
the one I was thinking.
And he wouldn't be caught dead driving a Ford.
So
Unless
pretty sure he's
you
a chef
wanna
guy.
be Sam Elliott, you gotta trim your mustache a little bit so it doesn't hang over your lip.
That's it. Mustaches are funny like that because there's like this in between. If you want the Sam Elliott mustache, you have to commit. But then there's this like in between time where you just got the mustache just over your lip. It's in your mouth. It's everywhere. I've tried getting through it and I've never been able to get through it because it's just so annoying. But to answer your question, it's just a lot of that, just wiping your face. The one thing I will say though is I'm not very good at like drying my beard off after I shower. And so then I'll go kiss Kelsey on the cheek and she just gets a slopping wet beard all over her face.
Oh, no.
It's pretty funny.
Max, you got the most glorious beard of all of us. Any tips? Any facial hair tips?
Yeah, I mean, maintenance is definitely a big part of it. But I think it's just an inconvenience of having facial hair. Like, I'll never eat a hamburger the same. It's
God.
it's
It's true. It's a ketchup catcher.
yeah. It's an unfortunate.
And sometimes you just got to take advantage of it. Like peanut butter and jam sandwiches, like an hour later, you just kind of get that. And you're like,
Don't even.
what's that?
You smell like peanut butter for
jam.
days. Yeah, who doesn't?
Exactly.
Who doesn't want their face to smell like peanut butter for a whole day?
Oh, God. There's been a couple like drink the bowl of soup and then not think about how hard you have to clean.
Yeah.
And then like 2 hours later, you go, potato bacon, baby.
That's great. All right.
All right.
You guys got anything else? Max, thank you so much for joining us from your RV.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully we can have a couple more of these mid-season check-ins.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Every time you
someone-
win, we'll have you on for sure. So no pressure.
Yeah.
Like to see you on next week.
I was gonna say I've kind of been out and about in a lot of different places over the last week, and there's been a lot of comments about the podcast. First of all, people are really appreciating the podcast, and the common theme was that Max was a great addition. So we really appreciate having you on. And we can officially say you are back by popular demand because people loved you so much. So
Oh my God, the air horn. Just take the man's phone.
Well, next time I'll try to get a more legit internet connection. Hopefully that'll increase the quality of the product. But yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get a couple more of these in. So yeah. Happy to be here.
all right. Well, good luck at Music City Open.
Kick some ass out there.
Yeah, good luck, buddy.
All right, Matt.
Okay. From all of us here at Parked Pro Media, if something's not worth doing, it's not worth doing right. The new Ford F-150.
Oh, God.
Hashtag not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.